You can hear me. Dr. Muda, can you hear me? Nice having you on the show.
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
It's been a long time I saw your face.
Okay, we can hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome to the platform. Okoto, you are here. You're welcome to the platform. Patrick, are you here? Can you hear me? Okay. It's a nice one. Another episode of this webinar presentation from IMSF. Today we are going to be talking about money, and I think we need to start early as fast as possible, because I know that a lot of people's ears are actually itching to hear about money, because I think this business is all about money. If you are doing anything in this business and you don't have the money, the capital to start up, there is nothing for you. So today we've tried to assemble some experts, people that are actually experienced, people that actually also that have actually touched the money in this industry, to actually speak to us. And all of us also will actually be sharing our experiences from one way or the other, where we actually made money from this business, and how we can actually encourage the ASM to actually boom in this industry. So I welcome everyone today, and as usual, we will actually need to start up very fast on a note of actually who we are. This is actually being brought to you by IMSF. IMSF is Initiative Advancement in Mining, Earth Sciences and Environmental Protection. As a matter of fact, this body is a non-governmental organization that is actually composed of practicing geoscientists, and mining engineers of common focus. So we're actually dedicated to foster knowledge and awareness of Nigerians' geology and mineral resources to students, to educators, to investors, entrepreneurs, and to general public. Our slogan is usually mining matters. Our vision is to ensure professionalism through fostering awareness of Nigerian geology and mineral resources at different levels, and also to bridge the existing gap among relevant stakeholders. So that is who we are. So we are taking initiatives that actually involving the youths to explore the earth sciences, mining and mineral exploration industry through a kind of an organized learning activities, by also providing a hands-on mineral resources program, innovative education and practical mining training opportunities, and mentorship for enhanced sustainable development of the extractive Nigeria industry. To that note, I welcome everyone to this platform. Here today we have our mentor, Dr. Mrs. Salau. Dr. Mrs. Salau is someone that most of us know. She's an accomplished geologist with an impressive career spanning several decades in the Nigerian mining industry, with a strong academic background and some extensive experience in this field. And she has also made so much significant contributions to the field of geology and mining in Nigeria. Dr. S.L. Salawo was a former director in Nigeria Mining Cadastral Office, where she retired. And now, as entrepreneur pursuit, she had actually come up with this idea of forming an NGO that will actually foster this vision, a very clear vision and passion for sustainable development in the ASM. And also, she's one that actually encouraged so many youths to actually come up in this industry. So I want to welcome her to actually give an opening remark before we'll have a lot of things to do today. Dr. Mrs. Salau, please. Can you give an opening remark before we go forward?
As usual, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I've always been delighted to be part of this anytime the youth are making moves to make the industry in terms of capacity building move. I'm just a coordinator. The youth are the one doing it themselves. And each time they go to the field, into the academia side, and then put everything together to see how we can really put everything right in terms of making the ASM strive in the sector. Today, we're not discussing anything than potential sources of funds for the small scale, or let's say the artisanal small scale miners company, to make them strive, to make them come on board. Despite their importance in the sector, how can they get on with funding themselves to make them grow to a sustainable stage? Thank you for being here with me today. I'm SL Salau. Thank you.
Okay, Madam, thanks for that brief opening remark. We welcome you. We cherish your contribution so far in this industry and all the things you've done over the decades. I pray that God give you long life to actually continue the good work you've been doing. Thank you very much. Today we'll be looking at an interesting topic that says potential sources of funding for ASM and a medium-scale operation. We're going to be evaluating the terms, some of the conditions and the risks that actually involve in financing or looking for some of these sources of funding in ASM activities and operations. And as the case is in Nigeria, this is a very peculiar issue when it comes to ASM. And today is, I think, this is the sixth topic we are actually handling this year. We started with the lithium ore qualities and markets in Nigeria and evaluation of, and also we worked on evaluation of ASM, processing methods for lithium ores. We've actually dealt something on the oil and sand mining. We've talked something on parameters for mineral testing. Last month, we dealt on overview of Nigerian mining industry and overview of a ProMine. ProMine was brought to you by ProMine Industry. Is a solution for mining companies when it comes to mine design and modeling. And today we'll be looking at some of the potential sources we actually have for ASM. So it's going to be a big discussion, but the first participant will be given 30 minutes. The second discussant we have in this will be given about 15 minutes. And then we'll come up with some of our discussions, contributions rather, and some questions. Then we can actually wrap it up today. Today we're actually going to start with our first presenter here is Mike Lokoto. Mike Lokoto is a managing partner and a principal project consultant. He's a leading team of Mod Okoto Nigeria Limited. Michael has 15 years postgraduate experience in project development industry, spanning various industries. Michael Okoto has a master's degree in mechanical design engineering from University of Manchester and bachelor's degree in production engineering from the University of Benin. He has also undertaken several trainings in project management, people skill management, budgeting. He holds a postgraduate certificate in mechanics of project finance from Middlesex University International Faculty of Finance. So Michael Okoto is also a registered engineer with Council for Registration of Engineers in Nigeria, CORE, and Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSE. He has worked in several projects. He has also worked as an engineer for Chikasin Group and other EPC projects. So I think Michael Okoto will take the first our discussion here is going to be presenting on the topic. And after that, we will have Patrick or Diego to share some discussions on this topic with us. Patrick Diego is the Managing Director and CEO of Polyguard Investments Nigeria Limited. Polyguard Investment Nigeria Limited is a licensed barite lead and zinc ore mining company with operations actually located in Benue State of Nigeria, and is currently serving as a ESCO member of Benue Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, BECCIMA, and as well as National Publicity Secretary and Acting Secretary General, Association of Miners and Processors of Barite, AMAPOB. So these are the group of people and some of us also here that will be joining in this discussion today. Please, I will make welcome to the platform, Michael Okutu. Michael, are you there? Am I sharing your slide or you are sharing from that end?
You're going to be sharing my slide. You're going to be sharing from your end.
Okay. Let me see. Oh, okay.
So, thank you very much, Gideon, for the introduction. I'll put on my video for some time, then go on your voice because of the internet signal down here. I've been here before, and Gideon just did an introduction, so I will just go straight to the point today. Thank you once again for this opportunity to share what I know. Gideon talked about those who have touched the money in mining. I'm not sure he's referring to me. I've not touched the money in mining, so I'm still waiting to touch. So you guys should know that. Thank you again for this opportunity. Just for us to have a quick understanding why it is important for those who are professionals in this industry. We look at mining more. You're coming from the academics, you're looking at it like a science. You're coming from the business world, you're looking at it like business. When you meet at a point, you see it as science, both science and business. And most of us in the profession are more of the scientists, those who have come from the academic world to develop this business. But we have not really seen it more like the business guys see it. The bankers and the investors want to see it more like a business than science. Why we are trying to come from the scientific and they're coming from the business end. So with this introduction, you will understand why it is very important for scientists, we who are technical oriented people, to know what those guys who have the monies or who are with the monies, the investors, what they are thinking. Why do they want us to know what or understand it from their end? And why we who are the technical people will understand or put ourselves in their position to understand why they are speaking the way they speak. Everything about mining is about making money. So regardless of the beauty of how we made good grades in school or how we should have mining really been done, everything about mining is making money. For nations and other bodies, it could be about sustainability, how to get things working well. But for people who are actually players, investors, and the other guys from the other end, business people, they're looking at making money, turning their $1 or $1 to $2, and how that should amount to good return on investment. So for us to understand how this should play out, I don't know if you're hearing me very well.
Yeah, we're hearing you. Go on.
All right. Okay. So for us to understand how this really potential source of funding for small and medium um, mining industries, how it is being perceived in our current environment, it is not news that there's a sudden interest in Nigeria, and the mining sector is somehow being the next source of income for the government or the diversification from oil. So there is a global trend right now where energy is being um, change. The source of energy is gradually changing, and it is relying so much on the mining sector. Lithium, copper, and other minerals and metals are playing a vital role in energy generation and energy storage. And the manner and methods that we have, our mining sector has been developed or has developed for a period of time, we understand that there was a period where it was the mining sector, then later it came to the oil and gas sector, then later we started having the new mining initiative that the cadastral office is developing. But if you look at it, we have not really had some of the global players come to Nigeria because of the way and manner in which our sector has been developed or has developed. We have small and medium scale mining licenses. We have so many licenses that haven't really come through, which happens in the oil and gas sector. This bidding process where large expanse of land are being shared amongst big players. So you will understand why we have a lot of small license holders. Our technical experts, geologists go into the field, do exploration, and acquire licenses. Very good, superb way of spreading wealth. But how do you get investors to key in to small and small capacity companies? These are the issues that we have to look at. If it were large expands that federal government actually gave out to big companies, you would have seen finance wouldn't have been a problem. But what we are seeing here is that there is a lot of the players in this industry are not even known for their expertise in mining or exploration. So they find it very difficult to attract funding. And what we have in our current financial environment is the local banks in Nigeria are subjected to managing risks like their counterparts globally. That means they have to ensure that customers' funds are being protected and they are not, they don't run into losses. Banks are open to financing only transactions that they understand. So most of the extractive industry financing, especially here in Nigeria, the bankers don't even understand how this operates. So they wouldn't want to come in. Banks are not people who want to learn how things happen. They just want to know how to protect their monies. Because even if you are going to tell them the best stories on it, how their monies will be protected is what they are really after. And for them, a lot of things are seen in is believing. So that's why you see them actually ask for lots of collateral and all those stuff. But in this industry, you don't actually, one will wonder, the assets that I have, they are even worth more than the collateral you are looking for. So why don't you use my assets as my collateral? So, but we need to, in project finance, whenever you are trying to source funds, you always put yourself in the banker's position. If you understand what the banker is after, it will be very easy for you to source finance. I don't know if you guys are hearing me.
We can hear you. We are hearing you.
All right, that's fine. I might not be using the slides that you're seeing on the screen, but if you listen very well, you will understand that it's all related to what we have written on the screen.
Hearing you.
All right. So bankers they work in a controlled environment, and so we first of all are not going to talk about the banks here because they are at the tail end of any project, any mining project development. They come in when we all know the word bankable feasibility study. They come in at that stage where everything is very clear to everybody. They come in at production stage where they are seeing the cash flow, they're seeing the minerals. That's where the banks, the actual banks come in. But investment banks and investors, the word investment banks are banks that actually invest on behalf of their clients. So investment banks most times come in and take the risk. They actually invest in equity. So most of the big time mining companies have actually succeeded in getting the banks prior to before the stage of bankable feasibility study, when they have gone through investment banks. These investment banks most times come in with equity, or they are coming in or coming to take equity, or they're coming in to represent an investor who wants them to do maybe due diligence or manage how you invest in a mining project. Well, let us come down to our own environment. We have seen that a lot of mining, first of all, is a very risky venture. Okay, sorry. All right, I believe. Let me use the slides for now. Limited capacity, financial capacity, and some of the challenges we are facing. We have limited financial capacity, high perceived risk. Bankers or investors don't know where their money will come from or how they will get their monies back. Lack of collateral. Collateral in this case, sometimes if your project runs into 5 to 6 billion, for example, you can't really source collateral at the level that you are finding yourself. Difficulty in meeting regulatory requirements. In this situation, the bankers have guidelines and methods in which the financial, that's the regulatory body, which in this case is CBN, will actually allow them to fund mining projects. So these are some of the issues. Volatility in commodity prices. This is when you have gone into production, and how you will be able to source funding. Limited access to capital markets. In this situation, this is a big topic on its own, how mining companies actually can get funding from the capital market. In other climes like South Africa, Canada, Australia, United Kingdom, and the rest, they have regulated methods in their capital market through which they list exploration projects. We don't have that in Nigeria. We are at the early stage of developing our assets in Nigeria, so we haven't been able to go to the capital market properly to showcase what we have sitting on the ground. Difficulty is in attracting institutional investors. Institutional investors are those people like the pension funds and the rest, hedge funds and those others that will want to put in monies that they are investing on behalf of their clients. And these are not mining assets as it stands today, especially in our climate, are not very good for these investors, because they don't understand what we are doing. The quality of exploration data. The quality of our exploration data at this time also is one that, just like I've talked about the capital market, how the exploration data are being generated and qualified is also a challenge for our local mining industry. Perception of short-term returns, government regulations. These are general problems that one can see as challenges that is facing the mining sector. So there are sorry, this your slide is not showing. Let me go to my own. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Let me grab my own slides from the computer.
Actually, next slide. Maybe you come back to it.
All right, I'm there. Yeah, just a minute. I'm there now.
Okay.
Okay, so the possible sources of finance for small scale mining companies are first of all, I'm going to talk about how the development stages in our mines. We have the licensing stage, we have the exploration stage, we have the development stage, and we have the production stage. So at each point, or at each life of this process, there are different ways in which owners of these mines can actually source funding. If you look at the licensing stage, if you take, for example, a technical person who goes through the process of discovering a deposit and determining that that place is good enough for the license, but the natural thing is that he will have to start trying to source funds, or if he's going to use his own savings to develop the license, or rather to acquire the license. So the first way anyone can actually start this business is to acquire the license, and most of the funds that you require to acquire a license will either come through your personal savings, or if you're doing it as a corporation, what the corporation is going to put in. So if we are going to be taking notes, the first way we can actually source funds for our project is through our personal savings, or if we're doing it as an organization, it is through the cash reserve of the organization. So at the licensing stage, which most times is not very expensive, most of us here know how much it will cost depending on cadastral unit. That is the first stage that we'll fix. Then we go down to there is still an aspect of the licensing phase which actually these days we need to bring in some funds in the event that you actually want to buy out the land completely, or you want to take care of the community in the sense that the community would only want to sell their land for such kind of projects. So at that stage, you will be needing funding. So if you haven't saved up to that amount of money, then that is when the next way, which is the next manner in which we can actually attract funds in the small scale mining industry, which is actually getting equity partners. Equity partners at this stage most times are people who will come in and take a chunk of the equity or the share of the business for the purpose of the business actually having funds to carry out the first stage of licensing or license acquisition. At this stage, it is very good for you to deal with those who are aware or understand how the industry works, because at this stage, if you make it very open or if it's so open-ended that you say, oh, there is so much material in this location, and come in and buy into my project, you need maybe 10 million naira to acquire the license. Investors might not understand if you tell them, oh, what is there? There's so much gold, lithium, and everything. They might not know what they are getting involved in if they are not properly educated in the mining sector. So they put in 10 million and they're expecting to bring you to that they've acquired a license, and the next phase is come in and bring in more money. So what I'm basically saying here is, if you are following the steps, which I believe after this presentation, I will send a revised write-up for this presentation, but it's not the same thing I'm having with the slides. So if we are looking at the if you want to attract investment for your project at the licensing phase, you have to be able to educate whoever you are bringing in at that time on the stages at which you will be able to get them to get their funds back. So being very transparent and clear in what we are doing will actually make us a good place to invest in. So at the licensing stage, you can either get monies from your savings, you get money from maybe a corporation if it is in the business, or equity holders at this stage will be very useful. So the next stage is when you have started exploration, desktop exploration. If you have the finance to get from the first stage, which is discovery, then to licensing, then for those geologists and mining experts that we have here who can actually carry out all these activities without so much external support. This is what most of the geologists are doing today, working on their own, going into the bush, getting, discovering, trying to acquire coordinates for good license areas, and doing good desktop review on their exploration. Thank God there are some data out there which the Nigerian Geological Service Survey Agency and MCO have developed to aid this desktop analysis. This analysis is actually the best and the safest mode at this time for developers of licenses to actually have better confidence in what they are presenting to investors. So investors out there who are looking to invest in small invest in the mining sector or invest in licenses will have better understanding or confidence when these desktop analysis are being carried out. So a very good desktop analysis for exploration professionals will help conduct or help investors understand better how to invest in these assets or in mineral licenses. This will help attract funds for such projects. So if we are looking at funding for small scale artisanal projects, having a good desktop analysis for exploration analysis at desktop level is also a good way to attract investment. And at this stage, I can say this is the stage whereby investment bankers or people who understand the industry and are trying to invest on behalf of clients can actually come in, because they will be seeing something that they can actually verify. They will be seeing things that they can actually put a finger to say if this is what the geophysical analysis or the desktop analysis, depending on how much technical work has been done there, is showing, then something good can be coming out of it. So at this stage, there is the tendency that one can actually source or get funds from institutional investors like investment bankers and the traditional ways, which are equity investors and from your savings. If you are very lucky to be a rich man and you have been able to get to this stage and you want to get investors, these are the potential people who you can meet. There are also, so what I have done here is I have segregated the investments, or rather the stages in the project, that is the phases in the project, and how each phase can, or what each phase can actually attract, or what kind of investment or funds each stage can actually attract. So for a pre-feasibility study, which is a higher level of confidence before you get to this stage, mining companies and investors will have a clear understanding of the project potentials and the level of confidence for its success. The study helps them decide whether to proceed with the detailed feasibility study, which involves more in-depth analysis and a higher cost, or to abandon the project if they deem it unviable. So at this stage, there is higher confidence on what should be done, and there is this at this stage. There is also the need to spend a lot of money. For the professionals who are here, they understand what it costs to do exploration using geophysical analysis and also including exploratory drilling. This stage is expensive, and this stage is where most funds actually sunk in. At this stage, we can only attract same set of investors, same set of investment bankers in the event that they are actually discussing with a client who is all right. So let me take it fast. So pre-feasibility study is where a lot of data is generated, and at this stage you need a lot of investment. So there's a lot of funds to carry out this project. So in a nutshell, you require sorry. So in a nutshell, you will require okay, let me go back to the slide where minerals. In a nutshell, we require um, investments from equity holders, and to reduce the pressure on equity holders, or to reduce the pressure on how we can actually get funding for our project, we can look at a situation whereby we use different methods. Different methods, for example, like crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a source of is a way of, or a manner of establishing a project by getting funds from a lot of equity holders. So, for example, if you need 100 million, for example, and you decide that you want to give out 50% of your company or your assets to those who are in. Hello, Gideon, are you there?
Is there?
All right, I would like you to take me to the slide that has the table that shows valuation and confidence. No, the last table, if it's on your slide. Well, I believe I've talked about debt financing, royalty, government. There's a table, not this one, the next one. No, not this table. It's the last table. The last table. All right, you don't have it. Sorry, I didn't send that to you. All right. Maybe you should just if I can share my screen. But I want to talk about these assets and how we should. I'm sending you the table so that you just include it. Sorry about that. So, well, just to quickly round up what I've been talking about, every aspect of the mining project or every aspect of our business has its phase. And if we understand how to value our assets, which comes with each of these phases, then we will be able to attract the right funds. So asset valuation is the key aspect on how funds can be derived. I know funds can be derived from the banks, and funds can be derived from equity holdings, joint ventures, other sources like government. Then we also have offtake agreements, which actually helps for those who are already in production for small scale. But my major focus, which I have been talking about, are for pre-production processes or pre-production funding methods. So if we can do proper appraisal for our project and do comparable transactions for this project, then we'll be able to have proper valuation of our assets and to develop how much the project is actually valued at that stage, or the license is actually valued at that stage, and you'll be able to attract the best source of funding. So Gideon. Yeah, so if you look at this chart, you will understand how you should actually value your project and what level of confidence you will be placing to those who are looking at your project from the outside. At discovery stage, you will see that although you think that you have found something very, very valuable, yes, it's for you who know what is there or who have the confidence that you have such a stuff there. It is highly valuable, but for you to attract funds, it's another ballgame entirely. So at that stage, if you look at discovery stage, you see how low the value of the project is when compared to when it is in production. So at that discovery stage, you see that it is even less than maybe 15% of the actual value that you might want to place. So I've seen some um, exploration reports that are still at the discovery stage, but they are placing the entire value of the production stage as their market value. So when you want to attract funds or you want to discuss with investors, you should know what stage you have or what stage you are in your project and be able to put proper valuation for your assets. If you work more, you do more desktop analysis, you will be able to actually attract more equity for yourself and have more funds from investors that you are talking with. Same thing with if you have gone from that stage, but each of these stage costs money. So if you can finance it yourself, or if you want to get into partnership, these are um, the methods, or rather the valuation that you should place your assets with. When you get to feasibility study, at that stage you have crossed the line. You have now reached a stage whereby actual banks can start looking at your asset, because at that stage your asset will have a value. The total reserve will be known. You will also know what it will cost to bring out that mineral resource or reserve, and at the same time, other the financial model for the project can actually be developed. So at that stage, the bank can actually consider your asset as one with a reserve, and that is where the institutional investors, the banks, and the rest come in. So I don't know if I have lapsed or spoken beyond my time, but I think this is where I will draw the curtain. Thank you very much.
Okay. Mike, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Okay. Wow. Let me see. Okay, I'm trying to stop this.
Hello.
Okay. Yes, I think okay, can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, okay. 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 Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. Sorry, I think there was some interruption in our network. I think Patrick, I don't know, Patrick, are you there? Can you hear me, Patrick?
Loud and very clear.
Okay, Patrick, that nice bringing you on the platform. This time around, there are 4 things I actually want you to discuss on based on this issue. I have 4 things I need to list for you so that you can anchor your discussions based on what Mike had actually said. And the first one will be, I will start with, the first one will be, I want you to look at this. Is there any existing government funding and grant that is actually currently alive right now? That is one. Secondly, have you in any form, through your journey of mining, secured any grants or any sort of financial support from the government grants? Has there been anything like that? Because why I wanted to talk about this is that I know that you've been actively been involved and been a very active advocate of these funding issues when it comes to mining support from the government and all that. And I know that throughout your years of operation in Tukula and all that, in one way or the other, you made some moves, and there has been a lot of fights concerning all these issues. So that is one. Second, then another thing is, what is the way forward to seeing funding? Seeing some of these, making sure that maybe ASM can actually access some of these funds. And finally, your message to Nigerian government, to ASM financing. So this is the 4 areas I want you to focus on your discussion, if you can actually take it one by one before we go into the audience.
All right. Thank you so very much, Gideon. I want to appreciate Dr. Salau for coming up with this incredible platform for exchange of ideas and for knowledge acquisition. Michael Okotan, must appreciate you. That was a very deep, fantastic deep dive. The information was very, very apt, very clear. Once again, the question asked, the first question, if I get it correctly, are any of the funds alive? Are there any of the funds that are available that an average miner can go and access? I must say that the manner in which we have approached our solid mineral sector in this country is pitiable. It's really something that needed to have, we need to have a rethink as a nation. Because if we follow from oil and gas sector and seeing that we could be a little bit much wiser with the solid mineral in ensuring that we follow through to the course of the value chain. But unfortunately, there is still that mindset, that short-termness mindset that has kept a viable sector, a sector that ought to have been firing at every cylinder, still dragging itself. In terms of funding, there's something that BOI have with the ministry. I'm thinking that that fund has not been completely exhausted. It hasn't, because the tickets were raised so high, the bar were raised so high, that very few companies on ASM or SSM, small scale mining company, can access this money. Very few. The ones that are now accessing are the artisanal miners that is requiring to get a director to sign off, which is still a tall order. But we should actually approach this thing differently. You ask of my own personal experience. My experience has been really brutal. if I can use that word, it has been brutal. We actually has been trying to see if we can get our system to understand what we're dealing with. This is wealth of a nation, and wealth of a nation shouldn't be, approached from a cavalier mindset. The type of funds that the banks, or the type of risk the banks are trying, or the financial institutions are trying to run away from, is not the type of risk they should run away from. If we are good to ascertain that a certain area has disposition to be hosting these types of mineral that the license has been approved for, it simply means that on a general template, the risk has been lowered, because it is certain that that type of mineral can be found in that type of environment. So we can't run away 100% from risk, but we can find a way to increase the confidence level through exploration. And I believe that's where Michael Okoto actually delved in beautifully, right? Nobody wants to throw good money to bad. Nobody wants to throw good money to bad. But you have to put those money out to increase the level of confidence in the mineral value chain, which starts with exploration. Desktop, as good as it is, cannot get you anywhere. But when there has been some historical evidence of mining, there has been evidence of you selling the product, there has been evidence of further mineralization, then the risk is less. Then the system must have a very creative way, innovative way to approach and walk you through those channels in order to expand the operational value, which again comes back as a wealth of a nation. So personally, when my confidence was completely shattered, let me put the word shattered, was when Solid Mineral Development Fund, which is really the apex funding window that should enable resource company to get on the ladder, was really, they themselves were struggling. A Solid Mineral Development Fund was struggling to access funds from Natural Resources Fund. So you can now see that an average miner stands no chance. If an institution such as Solid Mineral Development Fund were struggling for themselves to be funded, they were struggling. So it simply means that we are not really approaching this thing with all seriousness. So that was really very defeating. On my own personal end, everything we have as a person in terms of finance, we are completely closed because we use all the money, because we have a very huge confidence in our site. And that confidence is paying off, because on the last count, the further exploration that we carry out have shown a deposit of, can I say, vein of over 20 areas where we need to do proper drilling. So now we are actually mobilizing to do those drilling. But one good way for mining company to access funds is off-takers arrangement. And that's what I'm deploying now. Equity and off-takers arrangement. Bank funding wouldn't happen anytime soon. And the reason why it wouldn't happen is that Nigerians are risk averse. It's supposed to be the other way around. Because when you don't have anything, if he that is on the floor does not fear fall. So if we're saying that we don't have mining sector in Nigeria, then it simply means that our risk appetite must increase for us to have it. The opposite is what is happening. But the two ways I'm now exercising is equity investment. I've been able to, through actions that we have done, I was been able to convince people that are, high network individual, right, to come in and partner with me. And that's what I'm deploying right now. And another thing that we did was somebody that was using this product, I deliberately, through LinkedIn, deliberately approached him and said, look, you are using this product. It's not a Nigerian, but it's somebody that is really, really using this product in his production. So I said, this product that you are using, and you appear to be struggling with getting high grade, can you come to our site and just take a walkthrough? And if you don't think that we have this product, at least it's only your ticket, and we can go 50-50 on your ticket. And true to word, he went to French embassy, Nigerian embassy in France, in Paris, got a visa, and arrived, visited the site. He was shocked. He was shocked. This is somebody that has over 25 years experience in the class of mineral, which in this case is barite. He was dumbfounded to see the type of barite we have everywhere. He walked 1 kilometer from the pit that has been opened on the north side and walked 1 kilometer to the south side. And everything he was seeing was just barite everywhere. So this time around, it wasn't me trying to tell him that we are actually highly mineralized. He is the one singing the verse that since he has been traveling all over the world, he has never seen where there is this collection of white barite as he has seen at our site. Now, he's bringing all manner of systems to support us in bringing this product out, processing the product to the quality that the market demands it. So it is really, really crucial. The time it was actually yesterday for us to come up with a risk capital. It pains me that this 6 billion sustainability fund, that was one of it was going to be applied in barite. But instead of this money being applied on the primary source of barite, it was applied on a secondary source of barite, which is barite milling and processing. Till the life of me, I don't understand how this thing can be done this way, right? You are saying that you don't have the system of mining, you don't have you don't have any fully mechanized mine, and such funds become available. Instead of saying, okay, let's select blindly 2 or 3 companies and walk this company through that process of mechanization, because about 4 companies have already been selected by Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board for processing. They already have processing capacity. So I do not know why a decision to now apply this money again in processing. I don't know how this decision was made. They be that as he may. We can't resurrect the dead. But going forward, I think we need to really be intentional. We need to be creative, and we need to be innovative. Like I said, 2 ways for any serious mining company to get going wouldn't be via debt. Debt, banks are not ready. There's no Nigerian banks that have shown us, including the development bank, be it Nexim Bank, be it BOI, they are not ready. Don't waste your time. They are not ready. They are not ready. So, period. Doesn't matter the type of report you have, they will still demand that you should go and get those grandfather that has been buried years. You have to go and bring them. So they will waste your time and you won't get any luck. The best bet The two ways to get going is two ways. Off-takers agreement through your buyer that understand the business that you are doing. If you're able to convince them, you need to do enough to convince them. So exploration is really giving. You must show that if they give you an order, that you can supply the order. Now, if you can't supply the order, let it not be because the deposits are not there. So you need to show them enough evidence that the deposits actually are there. Then when you finish doing that, they will have to increase their own personal, confidence to release those money to you. But if they do, that's the best way to get going. Next best is through equity investment. You have to seek out high network individual. You have to convince them that if you take 30%, if you take 40% of this asset, and we are going to do low valuation, low or no valuation. Just I need this amount of money to do this and to do that. You need to state clearly what you want to deploy the money to. But majorly, deploy it in exploration, because the exploration increases your confidence. Today, I can speak with all confidence because I know the mineralization pattern of our site. I know where the fractures are. I know where the shear zones are. I know where the veins are. I know the type of product that is coming out from there. So you can speak with a level of authority. That is the only time you can now start making inroad in your mineral development, your mining development. Otherwise, we can continue to have this tire story. And Nigerian stock market, you can look at them, they are not ready. They are ready for people like Dangote, Boa Group, and the rest of them. But individual coming into the stock market at this stage, I wouldn't think is the best way for us to approach.
Okay.
Just off-takers agreement and then going through
Patrick, great.
route.
Great
Thank
one.
you.
I actually want to appreciate your contribution, discussion on this topic. It's been a very exciting discussion with you. I think three things, like what you just said, we need to take out of this is one, that it's true on a very short term for some of us actually looking for funding on a very short term. I think that these two things that you said actually is actually what is working right now. And in some of the projects I'm actually using, I'm working on, this has been the way we are going. The last project we have in Wase, we have is equity sharing. We got in the funding for drilling and all that is equity sharing, over 1 and something million. Is equity sharing, and another one is off-takers agreement. This is a very short-term thing that can actually happen. And like what he said, very interesting thing here is that there was a fund that was meant for solid mineral. That fund was actually, instead of the money coming in on exploration, data generation and all that, because actually that is actually what it means, whether you have ore or not, or you just have mineralization. The ore is where the money is. Nobody comes in when there is no data. But that money was actually deployed on processing. I was there and I saw it, So for now, I think that immediate way to go is just these two ways. Off-takers, identify who needs this product, convince the person. Also in Zuma, we did the same thing. The first $1.7 million that we got was gotten from the cement plant. You understand? They came to the field, saw the drilling going on, saw everything. They got convinced. They bought into the project on off-takers arrangements. That was how we got the first set of equipment. And that project actually stood the test of time to date. In most cases in Nigeria, what I've seen is these two things working out. And another thing he said very importantly is that you must develop your data, at least to some extent, to building confidence for people that are actually coming in. Most people are not actually aware, like our first speaker was saying. You find out that some people will give you they don't actually understand the business of mining, how it goes. So they think it's a risky thing, especially exploration. That's why most people do not actually want to get involved. And our Nigerian bank, forget it. They are not even even the one that is trading and buying, they don't even get it. How much more this one that is very risky. So I think this is a very important note for all of us to actually take. I know on this platform, a lot of us will have some questions and contribution. Please, at this junction, I want us to just use 15 minutes to round off on that. If you have your question, contribution, please, I want to see your hand. And we need to be very brief. Okay, here, let's see. Okay, Dr. Misalau, I'm seeing your hand. Please, can you make your contribution?
Yeah, thank you very much. Once again, from all the presenters, what they have said, we've all insisted on how to raise funds. But you see, especially when it comes to your exploration as well as the exploitation, the cash flow, the record keeping goes a long way to convince your lender or any financial institution to help out. In this case now, what I am soliciting for ASM Group is that start doing everything in a transparent manner. Your cash flow, your activities, everything, let it be transparent and in a conducive environment such that whosoever is coming in will come in with clean acts. At the same time, we should know that the upstream part of mining is very risky. But when people say there is risky, I don't understand. We have seen the minerals we are going to exploit on. What is the risk? The risk is that I don't see any risk. It's just the commitment to doing the mining right that is now left, such that if everything is transparent, everybody will now be able to do this equity and off-takers arrangement. We come on board and we will move on. Let's leave the government alone. The government will join us when they see us moving, not when we are waiting for them. They will never come. So that is my own contribution. Let's take the equity and off-takers arrangement as key point in exploration and exploitation through the mineral value chain. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, madam, for that contribution. Tayo, can you please make your contribution or your question?
Yes, thank you, Patrick and Gideon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, fine. I think this is one of the most important presentations we've ever had. And I want to make contribution and ask one or two questions. Madam, thank you so much. God bless you. From my little experience of about 33 years now in the mining field, what I've come to find out, you see, there's this problem that he who must come to equity must come with a clean hand. Now, the issue of openness and record keeping is key. It's not just an ASM problem. It's a general problem with small scale business. And that's one of the biggest challenges in Nigeria. Two is the issue of quantification of deposits, which is the key in data. Now, I mean, thank God for Patrick. I mean, we were together in Bailey before, so I know what we all went through. You see, my own thinking is this. Now, in trying to get equity and off-taker, we need to be careful about who we approach. And I'll give instances. I almost sold I almost enslaved myself way back, about 15, 30 years back, on some of my fields in Taraba. Because there are some people that are off-takers, they serve like a bridge between those big users, and I mean, they are more like aggregators. So what they do is they'll give you money that will never be enough. So you are tied to their apron. Two, they will give you terms that are crazy. Let me give an example. They'll say, okay, well, because I am giving you money, this is your cost price. I'm giving you a margin that can never sustain you. That's one. Two is they will want you to, from your own end, take care of the possible losses from cleaning and beneficiation they provide one. So in trying to get off-takers, we need to be careful of who to our because we will end up being caught in this poverty trap. One of my work in my PhD thesis on mining is this issue of the poverty trap that is only us, and that's why I'm very particular. ASM and SSM is the thing that's in Nigeria. That's our reality. We don't have all of those big big companies there now. So for our ASM and XM to thrive, I would also want to suggest, like, I don't know whether this platform will be appropriate, or we'll get platform where people on the field, especially those small scale and those artisans, they can be informed and educated. Something like extension services, but not from government, because I found that if you are going to government, will always be rhetoric. So I would want, I don't know, that is key in bridging this gap. Patrick, I know a bit of his story. It is not everybody that is as educated as Patrick or as I am. But how about the ordinary person that who forms the vast majority of the practitioners now? Now, how do they get this knowledge about what to do? Ideally, should be the service arm in the municipal of the work. So, what can we do to help to develop this sector using this issue of educating and enlightening, to understand, and telling them what to do in bookkeeping and in who to approach, even if it's off taker, to get them not to be anti or to be caught in this poverty trap. Thank you.
Can I make a contribution?
Yes, you can.
Okay, just a quick one. The last person who spoke, Tayo, you talked about educating extension service. So basically what I can announce here is that there is an effort to develop a kind of database, a repository, where mine licenses that are existing and people who have done some work can actually, so it's going to be like a website, showcase what they have, and it will go through the normal process of evaluation, valuation. Some experts will look at it and place some level of advice to the owners of the license, and eventually, if investors come in at that stage, they will be talking not just with only the owner of the license, but a body that can actually guide them. So what we have, just like Madam said, we should forget government. There's a lot of effort that is going on that they're trying to forget government with. So if you have, for example, you have a license, you have done X, Y, Z on that license, on this platform, you will have that already recorded, and you will also go through their due diligence, which will give investors, or which will be giving investors that confidence that if you've gone through this process, you have gone through some eggheads who understand the system, and they are placing such valuation or such confidence on this location, it is something that you can pinpoint on. So that is the effort that I know that some people are trying to, some of us are trying to put in place to help this aspect. Then in the aspect of offtake and equity aspect, which you said could be tricky. Yes, it definitely will be tricky because everybody will want to make a lot of money off you. But if you can actually do proper asset valuation for yourself, it doesn't have to be high-end valuation, but proper valuation, at least some level of valuation for your project, you will not just answer yes because you are looking for money. I know Patrick has answered plenty no to so many people during the course of his project. So if you see what is not good for you, you don't necessarily need to take it, which is the truth. So
okay, Mike, thank you very much. I think that is part of the evaluation, the risk evaluation we're talking about when it comes to all these off-takers agreement, because they can be very tricky, and sometimes you're going to get your fingers burnt. So you need to be very careful in choosing some of those things and evaluating to take on your journey of mining. Let's look at we have other hands. Aleko again. I'm sorry if I don't get this name.
Okay, thank you very much,
Please, can you come up? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm sorry I'm not using my video because I'm not in a convenient place to put my video.
No problem. We can hear you very well.
I've learned a lot from this discussion. I actually am a geologist, but I'm not practicing. I'm presently studying international business in the UK. I think one thing I want to say is we should try to look outward. By outward, I mean, since I've been in the UK, there's something they call venture capital, and it's really working. If you have a good business plan with a good business canvas and a proposal, you can look for good venture capital. There are a lot of them in the UK. They have the money, but they don't even know what to do with it. So if you are sure that your what you are doing is going to come up with a good profit margin, because what they are interested in is the profit margin. So it's right time we in Nigeria try to look outward. You know, there's a popular saying that you don't value what you have. If we look outward, look for a good business, venture capital company abroad, especially, so we have some of them in China, we have some of them in the UK here presently, and come up with a good business proposal, and I assure you, they'll be willing to put in money into your project. That's just the truth. I've seen it work here. It works. What we need to do is to come up with a good business proposal, make them see how their money will bring this profits, make them see how real it is. Then I'm telling you, you'll be surprised how they'll just be happy to put in money. That's what I think. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that contribution. That is a clear thing. The issue here is, once you're able to get to that level of convincing someone that we have a very good thing to come out of, a lot of money is supposed to have gone into it. That's why we're talking about generating the right data and doing it in the right places. And now, like what Mike is saying, there is something we're also trying to come out with. We're trying to come out with something that will look like assets, licensed assets repository kind of thing, in the sense that we find a way of evaluating some licenses. We'll have something like a website where some of these data and other things will actually come up with, so that people can actually find a way to it, and we can also advise on the way to go about it. Because the issue has been bringing this, most of the ASM might even have some of these data and all that, but putting them in the right perspective to bring the right person or right investors has been a problem, And there's another contribution by Dr. Mrs. Salau that the ASM should also start from the basic principles of crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is another thing. Mike didn't actually expand on that, but I think it's a very big topic that we need to look at also. Crowdfunding is another way of actually coming together to look at a particular project and bringing people, just like a kind of as if it's a cooperative, to fund and bring it to another level. Then from that level, we can look for a higher mining company, because most of the big companies do not actually start from the scratch of all these reconnaissance and all that. It goes from a smaller unit before they actually want to come in or build confidence in some of these projects. So but most of the issue has been developing all this data to at least those phase one activities, where the risk is very, very high. And, at that particular point, that is where the problems are. But I think crowdfunding is another way also to go. And also, she made mention of recording all your activities, your mining through, making sure that all your activities and recordings are in the right order. That's our contribution. Okay, let's go to Dr. Abalo, please. Are you there? Can you make your contributions?
Yes, good morning. Excuse me, I'm from Togo. My English is not so fluent.
No
I learn a lot from this conversation, and I thank Dr. Salau to inviting me. What I just have to ask for advice. I have a project here in Togo. We have our license, but we use all our equity to do the pre-feasibility activities. And now we are looking, the lenders are asking us about the off-taker agreement, and we don't know how to do it because the buyer are asking for something to see we can proceed. And the bankers are asking for the off-taker agreements. How can we do and how to convince the buyers? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'll make my. I think. Okay. I think maybe I'll leave the discordants to maybe make contribution. But if I should get what you are saying, I should rephrase it. Mike and Patrick, look at what she's saying. I think she's saying that they have done something to go up to pre-feasibility studies, and the bankers are asking for off-takers agreements. So how can she now convince the buyers to bring in? But my question again is, madam, if you've done up to pre-feasibility arrangement, up to pre-feasibility stage, are you saying as of now there is, and one is, what is the commodity in question? We don't even know the commodity you're talking about.
Beautiful. That's
what is the
commodity
in question?
We want to do bricks and tiles.
It's what?
Clay, bricks, and tile.
Okay,
bricks
clay mineral.
Clay
mineral.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, I see. Clay mineral is not metal anyway. Everything has market value.
Metal.
It's not metal. Everything has market value, and they have the rush for every mineral and all that. But I believe that most clay mineral is industrial minerals. It's most of the minerals that actually locally.
I think what
stored. So Mike, can you come in there, please?
I think if you have I don't know if you are trying to just mine the clay and supply a processing company, or you want to produce down onto the tiles. But if I get you very well, you are actually including the tile manufacturing company, right, to the clay. So your best bet is to go to a property development company and sign a procurement or an offtake agreement with them for the tiles itself, okay, and give them at a lesser rate based on market valuation of market rates. Maybe you give them maybe a discount of 10 to 15% based on what your numbers are. Because if the banks are asking you for offtake agreement, if you are just basing it on the clay itself, then you are looking at supplying a tire manufacturing company. But if you are not basing it on the clay, and you're basing it on the entire process, then the users of that mineral is, or rather the users of your final product is a property development company, and those are the people that will buy it more. That's my little contribution.
Yeah.
Okay, madam, did you hear? Patrick, do you have anything?
Yes. To add to that, you can see clearly that her product is not going to be an export-related product.
Yes.
Her product is definitely a localized product. So she has to be intentional in seeking out companies that are into clay production, that uses clay as part of their raw material. Somebody need to mute. Asin need to mute, right? It's really important that she target the local companies close to where she is. Maybe some of them wouldn't even know that her raw material that she produces can aid their production system. So it's not something that will be very difficult for her to provide. If you are producing tiles, definitely builders are your off-takers. So you need to seek them out, and you need to come up with a creative way for them to see value in coming through your ecosystem, so that the banks can be comfortable and the whole thing becomes very secular. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know, do we have any other question on this? Any other contribution? Let me see. Okay. Okay, I think from the top here.
For the guy, for Ale, who said we need to do more of external or outward, bring our.
There's something that Mike was trying to answer to the gentleman in UK that actually spoke about venture capital, right?
Yeah.
The issue here is this. There is a lot of funds available all over the world. But the fact that they are looking at Nigerians from a perceptive, negative perception index,
which is the political risk.
Which is political risk, right? So at this point, some of them are seeing that there's bound to be huge, humongous return of investment if they actually place the money with us in Nigeria. But the confidence is not there. So it's a confidence thing, right? But he that is in UK can now do something different. He can raise the money. He can use his own personal capital, right? Himself, that is in UK, as a geologist, right? You can say, okay, invest in me. I am going to build a company that will now interface with the Nigerian company. So that's a way for him to actually make something out of this, right? So the venture capitalist company will now say, okay, we're going to give you 10 million pounds, for example, because we trust you, because we know you, and also because you're a geologist, right? And also because you're a Nigerian. I think you need to find a way to mute ASM. Gemini ASM, his line is distorting the conversation. I think he has radio on, right? So to flow with that, I basically think that those of us that has personal capital, right, that can raise money, my singular prayer is you go ahead and raise this money. We know a lot of mining companies. In my book, I have more than 35 mining companies that if you give them $2 million, if you give them $2 million, right, in less than 6 months, they will give you back your $2 million. But you are not going to give them $2 million cash. I don't advocate anybody to give anybody money, cash. What I advocate is providing services. Mining should be about service. Any mining company that wants to buy equipment, are you okay? Are you really okay? Why do you want to nail so much millions in buying an excavator? You don't need to buy an excavator, but somebody can have a business that provides services. Excavator leasing or renting company can come and do long-term lease for you, wet lease, and provide you these services. You hit the ground racing, and then you repay back the money. And you don't need to own everything 100%. So we need to be creative. That's what I'm really begging, that there's so much poverty that can be removed out of our tables. But we're not removing them because everybody is holding to his chest, and our chests are busting to busting level. So what I want us to do, calm down. Nigerian mining sector is a gold mine. Across all mineral groups are gold mine, but there is also people that are not serious. So find a way to move the chaff from the wheat. And those ones that are wheaty, bring professional services around them. Money no dey loss. That's one thing somebody have told me. Money no dey loss. It simply means that if you say you have this product, I will work with you to show me where those products are. In the process, everybody will make money in a secure and sustainable manner. But it's time we stop this thing that we are doing, that mining cannot be trusted, it's too risky. I agree with what Madam Salah said. There's nothing risky about mining. It's either is there or it is not. If it's not there, why would you want to put money there? But for you need to prove to me that it's there. Now, The confidence level can be at 10%, it can be at 20%, 30%. So you put money based on that confidence. But if you see something that gets to 80% and it said you need $2 million, what is $2 million? With regards to our site, I make bold in saying this. We are going to challenge anywhere in the world, any company that is mining barite, let's say. We are going to challenge them because in terms of quality, we have quality. In terms of quantity, we actually do have quantity. So why would these guys be raising $20 million, $30 million, $200 million, and we are here shaking hands with poverty? That has to end. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. If you don't mind, please, can I make some comment regarding what Mr. Patrick has mentioned?
Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Lukman Kaka, and I'm a Nigerian myself, but I've managed to, with the grace of God and a lot of work and determination, I've managed to build a very successful business outside of Nigeria, outside of Africa, but I am making investment in Africa and in US and Europe and various other places. And I have a consortium, that we look at various projects around the world in terms of infrastructure development. Now, I'm very happy to, this is my second time I came on the meeting, and I'm very happy to see there's a concerted effort to want to really develop a different sector apart from the oil sector, which is very important for our people. And one of the things I would like to suggest very seriously is really for everyone to collectively bind their effort and their resources together. Because it's not enough for one person to now strike out on his own, in Nigeria to try to tackle the mining sector. It's got to be a collective effort, just like everybody is on this call right now. There has to be a way to, like Mr. Pratika said, to filter out the talkers from the doers. So there has to be a consortium to be able to filter through that process to where now you can have a collective, determined consortium that's heading towards a very strong sounding policy that's non-governmental but interface with the government somehow, some way, and have a very strong objective and direction. So this way, it's a lot easier for somebody like me to raise not only the fund, but to set up the institution that will manage and develop an organization like this for the next 100 generations. Because people like me don't need to leave Nigeria. But we had to, because we don't have the proper infrastructure, we don't have the proper leaders that have a foresight to invest in people like myself and so many others like us that had to leave our country. We need to come back and really have a real infrastructure. We have the knowledge, we have the ability, we have the resources, and we are fully blessed as a race of people, fully. So my appeal to everyone on this call is, to really take action in really consolidating everybody's ability and really fine-tuning a really focal point to really go forward, because we can spend a lot of time talking and no action. We have to really have a very militaristic approach to the mining sector, to the mining industry. If not, the same thing that's happening in Congo, the same thing that's happening in Rwanda, or a place like South Africa. You have Glencore, you have Anglo-American mining companies, you have Rio Tinto, you have all these big multinational corporations that come, pillage, move out all the resources, and bring it to their country to enrich and wealth their whole nations. And we stay in poverty and darkness for the next another 100 years, hundreds of generations, and we'll still be talking. This is the only way. This is the way I've seen these people done it. I've seen it, sit down in the room with them, and I see how they divide everything up, among themselves, with a very precise and militaristic plan and actions. We can forge the same system. We've done it before, way before they came to our nation and take what they're taking and doing what they're doing. So I really appeal for everybody on this call, for us to continue to really map out a very strong direction, a physical and a distributable direction, a national anthem on what needs to be done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I didn't get you. I didn't catch your name, sir. So Gideon, you're on mute. You're on mute.
My name is
Okay, sorry, can you hear me? I said I want your name, please. I saw ACGT.
Lukman Kaka.
Lukman
Kaka. Yes.
Okay.
L-U-Q-M-A-N.
You are joining us from where?
K-A-K-A.
Kaka. Okay. You are joining us from where, please?
I'm in Portugal right now.
Okay. It's a nice. Please drop your email and all that. We actually want to also reach with you, because at the end of the day, we are trying to form a very strong forum on the way forward on certain projects we'll be actually trying to bring on board. So this forum will be trying to get some individuals who are actually exposed to these issues, who can bring in their contribution home and abroad. So that's actually where we are heading to. We have a clear objective as time goes on. So we are trying to harness the various interests from different locations as we move forward. Thank you very much for that contribution. I think we don't have any other question or contribution on this. I think at this juncture, we're going to be drawing close to conclusion. We've done wonderfully very well. I have to thank our speakers today. They've actually played a very vital role in this topic. In conclusion, it's well established today that mining operations, whether focused on precious metals, minerals, or other resources, requires substantial financial investment at every stage, from exploration
Mr. Gideon,
and development.
Drop his email address. I don't know which forum is going to drop it on. If you close this, start dropping it.
Yes. Okay. I said so from exploration to development to production and to expansion of each phase, everything demands adequate capital to ensure efficient operation. So I think this ability for us to secure appropriate funding can actually, we need to actually look at outward, like some of us actually contributed here. Government is not going to do everything for us for now. So it is very important that we use every means, every method that we can, especially in these two ways that we actually pointed out, in terms of equity sharing and other means for us to secure funds. Please, I want to thank everyone that is actually here today. Chidima, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, hello, madam.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, please,
Hi, everyone. I'm here.
the last speaker, can he drop his address?
He has done that. He's on
the
platform.
Because it's very crucial to what we're discussing about and the way forward.
Yeah, Lukman Kaka. He has dropped it.
We want to have a prototype project such that everybody's contribution matters, and then let's see how will be able to help us to now move forward as a prototype project for ASM. and then how we can now use it for sustainable development in the mining sector. Thank you.
Thank you
May
very
I
much.
take this? Please let me use this forum to say happy birthday to my dear friend, Dr. Abalo from Togo.
Abalo, okay, from Togo.
Yes.
Okay, madam, happy birthday.
I used today to celebrate today's presentation, to celebrate her. She's such a wonderful doctor. She's been very helpful, hardworking, and you know, she as much as she's from Francophone country, she's always wanting to be part of us. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much, ma. We celebrate you. May God give you more life in health and in wealth. Thank you very much. Okay, ma, we need to draw conclusion here. Chidima, please, can you draw a closing remark so that we can just conclude? We just have a few minutes left.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It might be slightly noisy because I'm actually on the road now after I packed my walking down somewhere. So it's nice to be here. It's drizzling as well. And thank you, everyone, for your wonderful contributions. I might not have started this at the earlier start of the whole stuff, but I was listening in, and I think the conversation is very interesting. And we would like to see more of this conversation set up, and if it's possible, bring in some foreigners as well, so that to enrich our content. So we could also do a survey as well. That's just what I was going to add on before I do the closing remarks, to find out what areas that people would like to see to be improved on, and things like that, and also how we can enhance funding factors too, because I know it's very important in the mining sector. But first of all, we need to know the areas that we want to improve. And we would hope to see more of your faces next time. We always know the end of the month that we have this particular seminar. So if you can reach us on our email, as we all know, which is always sent out by Otto. So thank you once more, everybody, and it's nice to see your faces, and we hope to see more of you next time.
And in glasses.
Mr. Jomana from STV.
Sam Mokasa, you're welcome. And okay, I think we welcome everybody, and we appreciate your presence today. Together we're going to build this forum to a very greater height, and we believe a lot of things are coming up. You can see how investing experiences from different dimensions, from different locations, from different aspects will actually get, at least will help us in our individual pursuits. Once mining and exploration is consigned, you can have everything in this platform. Next month, which is last month of the month, we'll also be talking again on something related to this, but because of the nature of the critical minerals now, our team and what we focus on is mainly on critical minerals. So we'll be actually talking more on the critical mineral. We'll talk more on lithium. Maybe this time we're going to be talking on cobalt and graphite and some other critical minerals that is not just lithium, and where we can actually get them in Nigeria, how we can actually work with them, and how we can actually explore some of these minerals. So these are some of the
funding.
So I thank everybody for participating. And at this juncture, please, can we take pictures before we go? I've taken mine. You can take yours.
Dr. thank you for joining us.
Okay, and wait. Okay, this is a nice one. Please, you can have a blessed day ahead of you. That is the end of our discussion today. Until next, last Monday of next month, we're going to meet with all of us again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
And have a blessed
we appreciate you.
Have a
Together
blessed
we
day.
shall build the